Small World is an aptly named game by Days of Wonder, a developer that at this point should be most known for releasing the same games over and over again. But why fix what isn't broken, and why indeed innovate when you already have a license to print money? And as such, there are more expansions available for this title than there are stars in the sky. But we don't have time to cover them all now. There is only so many hours in a day after all. So you have managed to lure some unsuspecting victims to your tastefully decorated dungeon with the hopes of playing Small World. That's great! Just make sure those victims aren't important to you, because at the end of the game you are guaranteed to have lost at least half of them. You see, the game is ultimately about world domination, with a few races warring over the same speck of land. The more peaceful cultures focusing on gathering resources. The stupid twats are apparently in the vain belief that large amounts of cash flung at invading forces is as good a defense as any. This of course has led to deter the more ravenous races, who rather than picking flowers focus on the extermination of everything that isn't themselves. Yes, as you may have figured out by now, the game is racist, so it's a good thing you are not limited in your choices. There are the dwarves trying to live solitary lives in peace, the trolls whose first thoughts after entering new land is to find a boulder on which to live under, skeletons who run a successful trash collecting service, and many more. The races are further customized by the addition of interchangeable abilities. This is probably my favorite mechanic of the game, as it makes for some colorful scenarios. Such as a giant tunneling in under a group of unsuspecting merchant ghouls, who's already distracted by a pack of ratmen invading from the south, riding a freaking dragon. Normally I would put my money on the giants, but you would be surprised at what can be accomplished by rodents if properly motivated, and in the possession of a giant bewinged fire-breathing monstrosity. Feeling that your army is letting you down, being the lousy, bureaucratic, rotting meatbags that they are, it's time to put them in decline, and thus opening the doors for an ambitious new race to take the rightful place at your side. And so the circle continues, until an arbitrary amount of time has passed and the game ends. Each game will be different as far as race and ability combinations go, but that's the extent of replayability options, since the maps, one for each number of players, never change. This is enough to keep the games interesting though, and should the games turn stale, there is always that mountain of expansions looming in the distance. If you have been living under a rock for the past 5 years, and therefore haven't heard of this title up until now, Small World is colorful, wacky, fun, and should be worth a look. Just remember to keep a low profile while playing, since the poor soul who show any signs of winning will be swiftly beaten to a bloody pulp by the other players. But that's just par for the course. After all, it's a world of slaughter.